What's up, y'all? Cattle Prod back in this motherfucker. At the time of recording, I have heard nothing yet from the county on that body cam footage. I think they're slow rolling me now. Y'all be seeing this on Wednesday, and it's Tuesday. So, but it is early on Tuesday, so we'll see. I haven't forgotten about it. I haven't forgotten about y'all. We're listening to some Dark Funeral, Secrets of the Black Arts. Jamming that second disc. The Dan Swano production that didn't get used. I like it. I guess I get where they said in here in the booklet, they didn't like it. Didn't sound close enough to the EP. Sounded kind of thin. Didn't have the crunch that they needed. So in these parts. Yeah, even Dan Swano jumps in there and talks about how he got some new equipment. Didn't know how to use it that well at the time. Yeah, I like it. I like the other one too. I like both of them, you know. But, so we got kind of a shout out and a recommendation. Inhuman Micah. Been commenting on this channel for a while, haven't you there, Micah? Thank you. You were really helpful. Because I brought up comics or Walking Dead or something, and you were like, Crossed. And then you start commenting on the characters in Crossed, like, you know Crossed. That's awesome. How many people... I've introduced people to Crossed. But you were already fluent in that realm. So... that's awesome. So, Micah had a recommendation. How about some death thrash, like Morbid Saint or Demolition Hammer? So, yeah, I'm not familiar with that kind of stuff. But Morbid Saint is really awesome. Micah, if someone knows Crossed and knows brutal death metal, yeah, I'm going to listen to you when you talk. You're 2 for 2. And actually, Morbid Saint here is 3 for 3. I did check out the Morbid Saint finally. If nobody else has listened to Morbid Saint, it is worth it. I only listened to what was the album? Spectrum of Death. It was the first full length. When did that come out? 1990. Yeah, 1990, Spectrum of Death. Morbid Saint. That's all I got to listen to. And I only listened to the first 3 tracks. So listen to Lock Up Your Children, Burned at the Stake, and Assassin. Ooh. Yeah, first thing I noticed is those drums. The drums and snare, the kicks, all that sounded great. That sounded really good for a 1990 production. Yeah, that was the first thing that catches me. It's always them drums. How do those drums sound? I love Immolation, but Immolation was always plagued by the weirdest kick sounds. The kicks were always sounded different. But Morbid Saint over here has a beast production, dude. Oh my god, it's such a good production. Oh, I love that, the drum and snare. Just immediately locked into that. Was now the drum playing is even better. We all like our Pete Sandoval from Morbid Angel and shit. We all love our Cannibal Corpse drummer, Paul Mazurkowitz. I didn't think I was gonna get it, did you? And then the various drummers from Deeds of Flesh, you know. But this Morbid Saint drummer, I didn't look up who the drummer was for that. I didn't even look up the members of the band. Drummer for Morbid Saint is good. They're hitting hard. It doesn't sound like it's triggered. In 1990, it probably would not have been triggered. You wouldn't see that for a while. But there could have been, but given the production quality, I'm going to bet that that drummer was really hitting those drums. And great sound, great hitting, great playing. There's that double kick with the snare. It's not the blast beat, not that part. The blast beats are good. But the blast beats are like pseudo blast, like that Corpse blast, that early Cannibal Corpse style blasting. With that double kick snare, boom, that shit was fucking right on point. Which song was that? Oh, Assassin. Listen to the song Assassin. You'll know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's the third track on Spectrum of Death. Ooh. Like, I was already in love with the drums, the tone of them, but by the time I got to Assassin, I was just in love with the drummer. The vocal's kind of shrieky vocal. Kind of, yeah, like death thrash. Not like Chuck Schuldiner from Death, and not exactly like early Cannibal from Eaten Back to Life. Closer to Morbid Angel, but, you know, it's just that death thrash vocals that were kind of common at the time. Before the brutal death metal in 92 just kicked off, you know, with Cannibal, Butcher to Birth. Morbid Saint, that was good. I'm going to have to... Micah, I'm going to have to look into this. I'm probably going to have to score some of this if I can, find some of this to buy. Because this is something I would definitely have in a regular spin. Like, speaking of which, I just ordered... Sacrifice, the first 3 albums, that death thrash band from Canada. I don't really, guys, when it comes to death and death thrash, I'm so unfamiliar with it. So when Justin was like, "Oh, Sacrifice," a few other people commented about that. Suicidal Ground might have been the other one. Commenting on Sacrifice, I was like, maybe I didn't check that out. That earlier stuff, that death thrash from Canada. Yeah, how did I miss that? How did I ignore that? How did I not notice that? I don't know. But I got the first 3 albums of that coming. As well as Noxus, Violent Inherence in the System. Booyah! Got it! Got it coming. Come on, J-Dawg, get me my shit. Yeah, I got another Hell's Order coming in. I missed Centurion, I was going to get that, but that was gone. I was going to get Lord Humongous. That was gone, Raped by Nukes. But I got the Rehearsal demos, which are just as fun. I like demos and EPs and stuff like that. I like those demos and EPs way more than I like full lengths, but my favorite albums tend to be the full lengths. I don't know. But I just enjoy the EPs and the demos. They're so underground. I just feel underground listening to that. Like, dude, I'm UG as fuck, man. I got this shit. Physical copies. Yeah, Morbid Saint. Shit. Micah for the win. Y'all get out there and check that stuff out. The guitar tones were pretty good too. I did notice Burned at the Stake. You know, those were some. There's the bass in there. You can clearly determine which is guitar and which is bass. And the guitars are coming in, you know, not too thin, but they're not walking all over the bass to get that uneven sound. There's a lot of guitar players will put that bass in there. The bass tone in there, and they're doing that for them while they're listening to it because it sounds cool to them. Which I agree, it does. But when you've got a bass player, guitar players, scoop out your bass tones. Let bass have those tones. That's what you have a bass for. So I notice a lot of bands when they're just starting off, they crank up the bass tones of the guitars because they get that whoomp 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 sound. Which I agree, it sounds cool, but when you're practicing, it sounds like one thing. When you got drums and a bass player, it sounds completely different. So let bass take those tones. And Morbid Saint seems to understand where instruments should sit. That's always was the thing with the Cannibal Corpse, especially Tomb of the Mutilated, which is one of the greatest fucking death metal albums ever produced. But Scott Burns must have had a field day, because the bass and the vocals are always trying to fight for space. That's why the Bleeding sounded so much differently. They let bass be in the bass tones, and Chris just kind of moved up a few notes so that they weren't walking all over each other. But the fact that Tomb of the Mutilated has the bass and the vocals fighting for supremacy, and they got that produced well enough to where it sounded fucking amazing. I know that was probably a mixing nightmare, but they got it. Now, that's probably why it's one of the best albums ever produced out of brutal death metal. Tomb of the Mutilated. Hands down, dude. I mean, it's one of the best. And Butcher to Birth is actually one of my favorite albums, but Tomb of the Mutilated is by far the best album they ever did. Fight me. I don't care. I'll die on that hill, you know. Now, is it my favorite album of all time? Well, it's up there. I don't know about favorite albums of all time. I don't know. I know it's required listening. It's definitely Butchered and Tomb and Bleeding and Vile and Back to Life. First 5 Cannibal. But I would put that in one slot. First 5 Cannibal in one slot. So if you had a top 10, it'd be Cannibal, first 5 albums. Putting Morbid Saint up there is in like, how the fuck did I miss that? But that's what we do for metal people, man. Metal people. It's like, we always think, man, I've got brutal shit. And somebody's like, they heard this, and you're like, I have missed one. But we do that for each other, you know? That's what we do. So yeah. Morbid Saint. Fucking badass. You should check that out. Check out some Dark Funeral if y'all don't already know Secret of the Black Arts. I don't already know this. I don't care if you're in... I listen to brutal death metal, and that's all I listen to, or grindcore, death grind, whatever you listen to. Nah, man, I always listen to extreme music, whether it was black metal or death metal, you know. No matter where it was from. It could be Sweden, like Ohio or Illinois, where the hell they're from. Noxus. That's definitely up there with one of my new favorite bands, Noxus and Cavern Worm. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. But I always listen to extreme music. I didn't really care anything about, you know, oh, it's black metal. I don't care, I'll listen to it. And there's some black metal I'm like, too weepy, too, you know, too whatever, you know. But I'm the same way with death metal, especially that Unique Leader stuff or anything after California Disgorge. Which I love California Disgorge, but there was a wave of clones following them. Which is all good stuff. It kind of sounds the same after a while. Doesn't set itself apart. Dark Funeral, Marduk, Emperor, First Emperor, Night Light Eclipse. Those are all albums that they don't sound the same. You know, you listen to them and you know you're hearing a different band. So, what else out there is black metal that's good? Enthroned, digging Enthroned. Yeah. What other black metal? Any other black metal out there y'all listen to that I'm not... I'm kind of more in the mainstream. That depressive, suicidal stuff like Big Law is fucking badass. Everybody seems to like that shit. But some of that depressive, suicidal stuff gets like kind of boring. That screaming they do, it's like... Yeah, it was fun the first few minutes, but it's not like an album I want to hear of that. But Dark Funeral is one of them bands, like, I spent the whole album and I'm like, man, there's just good songs on here. Yeah. So anyways, thanks Micah. And thank you guys. All the viewing and commenting, because, I don't know, I just kind of get weird on content for a while. I don't know what to talk about. And I don't know what to do, so I just show off models and shit. But I think that's what we're going to do this time. I'm Cattle Prod, your Appalachian Warlord. Remember, if it's not voluntary, it's tyranny. Later, y'all.